Every week, tons of thousands of envelopes carrying prayer requests come into Kenneth Copeland from hopeless followers from around the world. They bring him their deepest needs by the tens of thousands and tens of thousands of dollars. Nevertheless, how many of those prayer requests does televangelist Kenneth Copeland really see? Well, none, as insiders say. It's totally 0%. If only his international audience knew that it is, in fact, an auto-response machine that facilitates the replies they get from the emails and letters. If only they knew that Kenneth Copeland never lays a finger on any of their prayer requests. Neither does he pray for them after taking out the monies in their envelopes. They would stop putting their faith so much on a man.
They think, when they get that letter back, that someone has actually prayed.
Is that misleading?
They don't understand that that was actually just processed into a computer.
Do you think that is
Very
misleading?
Just one day after the disclosure of a congressional probe into their ministry's finances, televangelists Kenneth and Gloria Copeland stand to face more issues. Former ministry insiders have revealed that Copeland's dedicated followers are being misled, and they believe it is time for the truth to come out. These mistreated staff were the lifeblood of the Copeland ministry operations, with tens of thousands of tax-free cash arriving on a postal truck every day. The majority of this money is mailed in, along with personal prayer requests, which are processed by ministry staff, while the Copelands have no problem spending the money inside the envelopes. How many of those prayer requests do they actually see? There have been reports before now on the Copeland ministry's private use of a $20 million jet and trips to a ski resort and an exotic game hunting ranch. But the real turbulence for the Copeland ministry may come from within the security gates of his Eagle Mountain Church and ministry headquarters, according to former employees who tell us that the Kenneth and Gloria Copeland you see on television are not the Kenneth and Gloria of real life.
We were treated like galley slaves.
In my eyes, there's deception.
There's a fear mentality placed on people that work there.
These are the voices of just a few former Copeland ministry employees speaking out about the disappointment of discovering what really goes on inside. Among them is Jeff Spradlin, who says he grew up admiring the Copelands and was excited to get a job working for them, and because of that, started going to church and working there in 1994.
Within 90 days, I started realizing this was a huge mistake.
For nearly 2 years, Spradlin worked in the mail processing center, where prayer requests and envelopes stuffed with cash arrived every morning. He claims that a group of ministers, not the Copelands, would pray over the unopened envelopes, and that he and other mail processors were the only ones who read the requests. And I was sitting there getting this paperwork all day, and Kenneth warned me so I don't say a word of this. When asked how many of these prayer requests, to his knowledge, Kenneth and Gloria Copeland see and pray over, the former employee replied, none. This former employee also handled prayer requests and wrote back letters designed to appear to be personal responses. According to the vendor, the ministry even purchased a new high-tech printer, which provides Copeland with a final paper that seems wholly tailored to each recipient. This will make them believe that someone has prayed for them when they receive the letter. They don't realize that it was just processed into a computer. Another former employee, Nathan Boutwell, reveals that he, not Copeland, read the prison ministry prayer requests and that there was no genuine human contact with those letters.
He, not Copeland, read the prison ministry prayer requests.
There was no actual human contact with that letter besides my eyes, but that's okay. He gets 10,000 letters a week. But admit that. Don't imply that you read these personally when you don't.
Copeland receives around 10,000 letters every week, but it does not suggest that he reads them personally. Former workers also claim their spirits sank after discovering Kenneth and Gloria had little, if any, interaction with their devoted followers. The former employees further reveal that Kenneth and Gloria have little to no interaction with their 500 workers, and it was some kind of an unwritten rule that if Kenneth or Gloria walked through the office, they were not allowed to see them or talk to them.
And it was an unwritten law that if Kenneth or Gloria walked through the office, you don't see them, you don't speak to them.
They say that when the Copelands are not on the road, they spend their days inside their 18,000 square foot parsonage on the shores of Eagle Mountain Lake. surrounded by hundreds of acres of range and ranch property not far from their tennis courts and boats. The only way they could get to Copeland was to sneak past his backstage protection. Copeland later explained that his ministry is so vast that he needs a prayer team to help him read the requests. Now, when asked how much mail and correspondence they see and pray over, Spradlin says 0%, and then on weekends, he preaches all over the world. Copeland and Gloria are often on the road preaching, so they have little contact with their staff. When asked about their preaching methods, Copeland claims they prefer to focus on the negative aspects of the ministry rather than the positive. He said that they want to tear down everything they can. Copeland must realize that it is not about pulling down a ministry, but about confronting reality for the first time. It is about coming to grips with what numerous individuals went through and realizing that this isn't God at work, as loyal Copeland followers claim, unhappy that they have made no mention of the ministry's good spiritual message, which Copeland has propagated over the world. No one is challenging that message. We are questioning whether Kenneth and Gloria Copeland practice what they teach. In 2012, a committee conducted an inquiry into Kenneth Copeland's ministry. KCM's answer and public remarks indicated that they needed to cooperate with the committee's request to give missing responses. As a consequence, committee personnel worked to obtain the necessary material from public sources and other parties. During this process, staff discovered the forced measures KCM employed to keep former workers from speaking up and speaking out. This is because several former KCM workers came out clean, and KCM made use of intimidation to discourage informants from speaking to the committee. At first, they hesitated to offer testimonies due to concerns about legal repercussions from their confidentiality agreements. Following the committee probe, it was discovered that the former employees had signed a secrecy agreement not to share any information about the ministry. One former employee remarked, "The Copelands use guerrilla techniques to keep their staff silent. We are flatly warned and threatened that if we speak out, God will ruin our money, destroy our families, and torment us with everything terrible and impure. God will enable Satan to harm us if we touch God's anointed prophet and leave his shelter." Furthermore, staff are urged to avoid and mistreat anyone who tries to speak out. Like most other high-profile churches that indulge in many hand-twisting gimmicks to evade tax payment, KCM has since ceased to make its finances public. The church admitted in its submission to the committee that it gives Kenneth and Gloria a parsonage, and Copeland's son, John, a housing stipend, but it gave no additional information. However, insiders and the Trinity Foundation reveal that Kenneth and Gloria live in a Tarrant County, Texas home. The following information is found in the Tarrant County Appraisal District. Records. EMIC, that is, Eagle Mountain International Church, has an 280 square foot home that was constructed in 1999. Situated on a lake on around 25 acres, the mansion is free from taxes. The property was appraised at $6,249,000 in the 2008 tax year. A third-party informant reveals that the parsonage features a bridge linking the home's two sides and a sweeping spiral staircase that crosses the main area. Gloria Copeland claims that there are doors from a castle and crystal chandeliers as well. The parsonage is filled with rooms, one of which was used by the cleaners to do laundry, iron clothes, and carry out other errands. There is a large drop-down screen and projector in the Copelands' bedroom. The Copelands kept motorbikes, vehicles, and a golf cart in 3 separate car garages located at either end of the home. There is a boat dock with 3 spots on the property as well. Since most boats are moored on all 3 spaces, the Copelands store their ski boat in one of the hangars for airplanes. According to insiders, the church covers all maintenance costs associated with the parsonage, including paying for home staff. The facility is maintained by KCM staff, who also handle other tasks, including putting up the Christmas tree, moving furniture, and organizing the Copeland's workout equipment. An informant stated that the Christmas tree assembly and other decoration placement at the residence required 5 days for the 4 male employees. The responsibility of decorating the tree fell to the accounting department staff. According to insiders, Gloria and her daughter Kelly purchased the KCM's buying department shortly after the Copelands moved into the parsonage. Naturally, they kept this information hidden. So, I do hope that Kenneth Copeland, wherever he is, sees this message and tries to make amends in his ways before it gets too late. What do you find most baffling about Kenneth Copeland's exposure? Please leave your thoughts in the comments section. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and invite others to watch this video. Bye for now.